So I got this email the other day from a first year teacher who was going into her second year, and she talked about how she was really worried about planning in the upcoming school year. She talked about how the day before she was often planning for the upcoming school day, how she would stay up late grading, and she could never get ahead, let alone caught up. And this really resonated with me because that's exactly what my first couple of years of teaching, what my experience was like. I was constantly trying to catch up. I could never get ahead, and it felt like no matter how much I worked, even on the weekends, I just couldn't get there. And I would stay up late, and I just wasn't taking care of myself. And it was the hardest time, I swear, of my life. And so, what I discovered though was eventually I learned the secrets to getting ahead or to get caught up so I can get ahead. So, today, we're going to be talking about how you can use winter break to get ahead. That way, in the upcoming for the rest of the year, you can continue that momentum and stay caught up, if not ahead, for the upcoming months. So, with that being said, let's dive in. All right, so let's talk about how you can go about getting caught up over winter break so that way you can start getting ahead after. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to choose one day of winter break to lesson plan. So, lesson planning is one of those things that you do the day of or the morning of the day before, and it feels like you are spending a majority of your prep doing to the point where you don't have time for other things. So, we're going to change that now, and we're going to set one day that you're going to lesson plan. And you're going to choose the first step to this is you're going to choose how far in advance you'd like to plan. Would you like to plan the first week? Maybe 2 weeks out? What does that look like for you? How far ahead do you want to be? And the reason I have you choose one day is because I don't want you to spend your entire winter break trying to get caught up and ahead. I want you to spend the rest of your time relaxing with your family, reading a book, lighting your Christmas tree, if you celebrate the holidays. I don't want you to spend your entire break. So we're going to break that down. So you're going to choose a day that you're going to get caught up on lesson planning and you're going to even get ahead. Choose how far you're going to get. 1 week, 2 weeks, one day, 5 days. What is that for you? And then after you do that, I want you to think of how long is your prep for. At my school, our preps are 40 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to set a timer for 40 minutes, or I'm going to go to Pomodoro and or to YouTube and type in Pomodoro timer, and I'm going to do 40-20. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to try to lesson plan for 40 minutes straight. And I'm going to try to get as far as I can in those 40 minutes. After the 40 minutes is up, I'm going to stop. And when it says take a break on my Pomodoro timer, I'm going to take a 20-minute break. If I have a 50-minute prep, I might do 50 minutes and a 10-minute break. You get the idea. But I'm essentially mimicking what a prep would look like. And after I do, let's say, one set of 40 and 20, I'm going to do a second set and a third set until either A, I reach my goal, or B, until I do like three and I'm pretty done for the day. After you've done that, I want you to look at how far you got during each section. What you'll often find is maybe the first one you got maybe like a couple days, and then the second time you got a week done because you had the momentum, and then the third day you might have either like backed off a little bit or you gained a little more momentum. But the point is, when you focus your entire prep over those 40 minutes or what have you on lesson planning, you can get a lot farther than when you're doing 5 to 10 things at once. So take note, when I go on my prep, I can get this far in advance. When I did this activity, I found that I could get about 1 week in advance done in 40 minutes for reading and math, for example. So I made sure that on my prep, I gave myself 40 minutes to get 1 week ahead. So, with that being said, after you've done this, you've set a goal for how far, you chose a day on your winter break, you're going to focus on lesson planning. You set a timer for your prep, you set a Pomodoro, and you worked on just lesson planning for those chunks of times with breaks. Then you are going to choose a day of the week to consistently get caught up on lesson planning. So let's say on Mondays, I'm going to work on lesson plannings. And now I know that if I average out those 3 sessions I did, I can get about a week's done of lesson planning in 40 minutes. And again, the more you do it, the faster you're going to get. So that's the first step you're going to do. You're going to focus on lesson planning. Then on the second day, you're going to choose a second day of your winter break, and you're going to focus on grading. Now, you might have to get caught up on grading like I did in the past. So you're going to do the same thing. Figure out how long that your prep is. You're going to set a goal. So maybe my goal is to get through all of my assessments in those, today. So I'm going to set a timer for 40-20, and I'm going to do 3 sessions. So I do that. I work for 3 hours, and I find that sure enough, I can get through, like 5 assessments graded in 40 minutes or something like that, or 2 assessments or 1 assessment done in 40 minutes. Once I have that done, I can then go and figure out, okay, after I take my rest and I've done those 3 sessions, I can tell myself, okay, it takes me about this long to get this much grading done. So now I'm going to pick a day of the week when I go back to school that I'm going to focus on grading. For me, that was Thursdays. So I chose Thursdays because I noticed at the beginning of the school week during my prep, the first day I had this energy. I could use the brain. My brain was there, but by Friday, my energy level and my mental capacity went down. So grading is something that doesn't necessarily take a lot of mental capacity, so I put it towards the end of the day. So as a recap, how to get caught up. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna lesson plan for 1 day. Second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get caught up on grading. Third thing you're gonna do is you're gonna choose 1 day over winter break to focus on family newsletters, if you do them, and or homework. So same thing, you're gonna set a goal. How far do I wanna get? Maybe I wanna get 1 week done or 2 weeks done of homework and family newsletters done today. So after you set that goal, set the timer for your prep, do the Pomodoro, 40 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off, however long your prep is, and get as far as you can. After that, and you've taken your rest and you've done your sessions, you can start to see it takes me about 40 minutes to do 1 week's worth of newsletters and homework to prep it out or to come up with what I'm going to put in each one. So after you do that, you're going to pick a day that you're going to focus on family newsletters and homework. For me, that was on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, I would sit down, I would plan out the homework my kids were going to do for the upcoming week, and then I would also prep the newsletter for the upcoming week. That way, I was always 1 week ahead. Okay, so as a recap, we talked about what you should do to get caught up over winter break so you can start getting ahead once school starts again. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick a day to lesson plan. Then you're going to choose a different day to focus on grading. Then you're going to choose a different day to focus on newsletters or homework. Now, you may notice that this felt a lot different energetically than it did when you normally prep. It probably feels more focused, like you can hyper focus and you get more efficient and you get in a groove. That's because you're cutting your to-do list practically in half and you're focusing on one main thing and you're getting as far as you can. So this is what you're gonna do once school starts. You're gonna pick 1 day to focus on one thing during your prep. So typically my to-do list when I first started looked like on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, all Monday through Friday, I had to prep for the next lesson. I had to lesson plan for the following day. I had to respond to family emails. I had to grade the papers from that day. I had to prepare homework, respond to newsletters, respond to emails, and it felt all very chaotic. As opposed to if you assign one main task for your prep for each day. So this is what mine looked like. On Mondays, it was lesson planning. I would sit down, I'd set my timer for 40 minutes or however long my prep was, and I would lesson plan as far as I could. On Tuesdays, I was prepping. All those lesson plans I wrote, I would go and I would prep those out. I would go print out all the worksheets, all the materials I needed for that following week. Third thing, on Wednesdays, I would work on communication and homework, and then on Thursdays, I'd work on just grading the papers that we had done as a class for that week. So I was consistently on top of my grading. Now, when you start this, so let's say over winter break, I decided for my lesson planning, my grading, and my family newsletter and homework, all of those, I want to be 2 weeks out. So I have everything planned, prepped, and ready to go up until the third week of January. The first 2 weeks, I already have planned, prepped, ready to go. When I get back to school on the first, instead of taking a break, I'm going to then focus on planning and prepping the third week of January. This means if I continue to just focus on doing 1 week at a time for the rest of the year, I'll always be 2 weeks out ahead. I'll be, on the first week of January, I'll be focusing on the third week of January. On the second week, I'll be working on the fourth week. There will always be a 2 week gap in between where I am and where I'm planning and prepping. This means that when you get sick, when your prep is taken away, when an emergency happens, that's okay. You have a buffer. And it completely changes your life because you're no longer trying to prep and plan for the same day. You are planning and prepping for 2 weeks out. Now, with like homework and newsletters, what I would do is I wouldn't print those out per se, at least the newsletters, until the week before. Because in my newsletters, I would often put dates and stuff like that. So having that flexibility was really important for me. So I could always change and update. And then the week before, when I went to go prep the materials for the 2 weeks out, I would just print out the newsletters. So with all that being said, when you keep this momentum going, your preps are more relaxed because you're not stressed trying to plan and prep for that same week. You're planning and prepping for 2 weeks out. So with all that being said, that is how I personally recommend getting ahead or getting caught up over winter break so you can start getting ahead the rest of the year. If you would like to learn more, make sure to check out all of my teacher productivity tips. I have a ton of content that I've talked about in regards to planning, lesson planning, and batching and everything in between. If you want to take it a step further, I highly recommend you check out the Ultimate Prep Guide, where I walk you through all my time management strategies I have for saving you time and getting more done in less time so you can take your weekends to yourself and you don't have to stay up late grading before report cards are due ever again. And if you want to take it a step further, I have a bunch of templates and resources I've used in my personal teaching life that have made planning and prepping easier and has saved me a lot of time and dare I say money when I organize my resources and I don't have to rebuy the same resource on TPT a million times, just different versions. So with all that being said, make sure to check out the Ultimate Planning Teacher Template Bundle, where I put all my templates I use for planning into one spot. And if you want to take it a step further, over winter break, I like to host the Leaving Work on Time program. This is a program that walks you through how you can consistently put systems in place so you can consistently leave at contract time so you can have your weekends free while still getting everything done in the classroom. All right, if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to send me a DM and give me your biggest takeaway or which one of these are you going to incorporate. Let me know or let me know in the comments below. As always, remember, we are stronger together and I will see you in the next one, teacher bestie. Bye.